Hey everyone, so something that a lot of companies have you do when you're starting out with them is to identify your why. So, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to set out to make a change? Why do you want to join Beautycounter? What's your reasoning behind, taking this opportunity and motivation? And for me, my why is really my family. And I just wanted to kind of dive into that a little bit. As most of you know, I have a 2.5-year-old little boy named Alexander, and I have a 10-month-old, almost 10-month-old little girl named Elizabeth. And those two people and my husband, they're the most important people to me. And I really feel that everything that I do is going to impact them, and I want to make sure that I'm setting the best example for them and really just giving them the best start at life. And with Beautycounter, I just feel like this company is something that can leave a really long-lasting impact on society, on the world that my children are going to grow up in. And I really like the thought and idea of them kind of growing up in a world where they're not constantly having to check labels on products to see if it's something that could potentially harm them, cause cancer, or endocrine disruptors or reproductive issues, or even eczema. So anyways, 2 years ago, if you were to tell me that I'd be wearing masks and cleansers and making those part of my beauty routine, I probably would have laughed. I was never much for self-pampering, believe it or not, and I had actually never had a facial. I still have never had a facial. I never did masks. I rarely washed my face. I think I would just take a shower and just wipe it down with water. I wore makeup that I purchased because someone told me to. They said that this was the prettiest or the best, or whatever their motivations for selling the product was, and I just kind of trusted them. And I never really read labels, let alone think about the long-term effects that those products could potentially have on myself or even my loved ones. And spring 2016, I was introduced to Beautycounter. My son Alexander had been fighting some pretty awful eczema, and despite all of our efforts, we really couldn't find any relief for him. We had been to countless doctor's appointments. We had seen dermatologists and allergists, and all of these people wanted to prescribe Alexander medication or creams or ointments that would help the reactions from eczema, so the skin irritation, the rashes, and the dry skin. But none of these actually really solved the problem. They were sort of just putting it on top and hoping it would help, and it didn't really do anything. And it was really frustrating for me because I felt helpless, and as a mother, we want to do everything we can to help our children and to make sure that they're comfortable and not itching and not irritated. And finally, the last thing I wanted was to apply all these chemicals onto my 16-month-old. So the journey down my rabbit hole of product safety sort of began, and it started with one product that I still really like and I still use it. It's Tubby Todd's All Over Ointment. And this stuff, a year and a half ago, some of you probably heard me talking about it, praising it. It really worked wonders on his skin. It really helped clear him up, and within a couple of days his eczema probably was reduced about 80%, and we finally felt some relief. But sadly, it didn't really last. As soon as we would do a bath, it kind of came back full-fledged, and the dry skin and the patches would reappear. So we were still using the ointment, but it just seemed like we were kind of doing a yo-yo with the eczema, where it would come and go. We'd put on the moisturizer, it would go away, and then he would take a bath and it would come back. And I started looking more into what else was touching his skin, what else was could potentially be causing these issues that he was having. We were already using gentle laundry detergent, and we don't use any fragrances in our home. I have sensitivities to fragrances, so we're pretty a low fragrance family. And I realized that Alexander's body wash and his shampoo could possibly be the culprit. Without naming any names, there's a brand of children's body wash that has been under some fire lately, because it's really not that safe, and a lot of their product is not that safe, but everybody kind of looks at it like this is the best stuff to use. So anywho, so after kind of digging in more, looking up each product in our bathroom, I went to EWG, which is Environmental Wellness Group, went to their Skin Deep database, and I was actually really shocked to find the number of potentially dangerous chemicals that were in so many baby products. Just insane. So I started asking around my mom's groups looking for safer and better alternatives, and one mama replied with offering me some samples for this direct sales company I'd never heard of called Beautycounter. And admittedly, I was off-put, as I'm sure many people are, at the idea of a direct sales company. Sadly, there are so many multi-level marketing companies out there, and a lot of them have negative reputations, and that has kind of tainted the whole direct sales business in a negative light. So I'm sure so many people kind of have skepticism, and for those of you who took the chance with me, thank you. But anyways, I took her up on her offer for her samples, just proceeding with caution. And while I was trying out the samples, which I really did love, I also decided to keep an open mind. I looked around, I checked out EWG's database, and probably drove myself a little crazy reading labels, and really trying to find something that could be better than Beautycounter. And while I did find a handful of options, there was something about Beautycounter that really stood out to me. And it wasn't just the product, it was the fact that this company was an education first, product second company. So they wanted to really make an impact. They wanted to get safer products into the hands of everybody, but also while doing that, they wanted to kind of shake up the industry and really push for cosmetic reform and reform in the cosmetics industry and regulation. The company wasn't really about making money and lining the pockets of its CEOs and shareholders. It was, or it is, a mission-driven company. And I learned that they worked with senators and nonprofit organizations and have really been doing a great job at pushing for these changes, which I think is so important and not something that people talk about enough. I was also impressed to learn that this direct sales company worked with other companies that I admired and respect, like J.Crew and Goop, and more recently, they also were doing a partnership, or they were doing a partnership that was coming up at the time, and that was going to be with Target. And the more I read about Beautycounter and looked into all of their high-performing products, and not just the kids stuff, but everything that they had to offer, I grew interested in seeing what else I could swap from my own personal beauty collection and change that with Beautycounter. I had been trying out Honest Company's beauty line, and it was okay. I wasn't super impressed, but I kind of felt like it was a step up in the safety kind of world, but it wasn't something that I was super impressed with. The product was just okay. So finally, I just said, you know what the heck, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try out this Beautycounter stuff. There was a 60-day full refund, satisfaction guarantee, whatever policy, where I could try it out, and if I didn't like it, they would give me my money back. So it was kind of like a no-brainer for me to at least give it a shot. But I didn't really stop there. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to spend the $85 and I'm just going to go big, and I'm going to buy a bunch of products. I'm going to replace everything in my medicine cabinet, and I think I emptied probably 2 or 3 trash bags full of skincare and beauty crap. Just stuff that was not good, stuff that was either really old or just not good for my skin, not good for me. And ever since then, I mean, my skin has felt so incredible. I'm constantly told that my skin looks amazing, that I look like I'm glowing all the time, which I do right now, but that's because I have highlighter on my face, and I forgot to put my mattifying powder on after I did my my makeup. But anyways, so the long of it, of that long 10-minute story about how I found Beautycounter and my why, circles back around to my children. And I really want to be a good role model for them. And I really want to set an example for them and let them know that, you know, there are safer alternatives, that what I'm putting on them is going to be the best of the best. And I really feel passionately about everything that this company is doing. I feel proud to be part of this company, and I'm incredibly thankful for all of you for supporting me and just coming along with me on this journey. So that's sort of a little bit, I guess a lot of it, it's like 11 minutes long, about why I decided to go with Beautycounter and my why. And I hope that, you know, you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.